Welcome back to my channel, Pocket Change Coins. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're about to uncover the mystery and potential fortune behind the United States Washington $quarter coin from 1988, with the D mint mark, a coin that could shock you with its hidden value. Let's start by setting the scene. The year is 1988. The United States is at the tail end of the Reagan presidency, the Cold War is beginning to thaw, and the American economy is booming. Amidst all the big changes and cultural milestones, millions of Washington quarters are being struck and put into circulation. Most of these coins were used every day, passed from hand to hand at gas stations, grocery stores, and vending machines. But among those millions, a small handful were born different, and those are the coins we're talking about today. The 1988 Washington quarter carries a design that has become a timeless icon of American coinage. On the obverse, or front side, we see the famous profile of George Washington, America's first president. This design, crafted by John Flanagan, has graced quarters since 1932. It's a symbol of leadership, independence, and national pride. Washington's gaze is firm, confident, and filled with purpose, reminding every American of the founding ideals of the nation. Surrounding his portrait, you'll find the inscriptions, Liberty above, In God We Trust, to the left, and the date, 1988, below. Just next to the year, you'll notice a small letter D, the mint mark for the Denver Mint, where this specific coin was produced. Millions were made, yes, but not all were created equally. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and you're greeted by an imposing image of an American bald eagle, wings spread wide, clutching a bundle of arrows, a design meant to represent strength, peace through preparedness, and American resolve. Below the eagle are two olive branches, symbolizing peace. The words, United States of America, arch across the top, and E pluribus unum sits just above the eagle's head, meaning, out of many, one. And of course, the denomination, $quarter, is stamped clearly along the bottom. Now, here's where things start to get really interesting. While the 1988 D Washington quarter was produced in large quantities, only a select few have turned into prized collectibles. Why? Because some of these coins possess rare minting errors or unique characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. These small differences, some nearly invisible to the untrained eye, can transform a simple 25-cent coin into a numismatic jackpot. Let's talk about the kinds of minting errors that drive collectors wild. You might find a 1988 D quarter with a double die obverse, where parts of the lettering or even George Washington's features appear slightly doubled. Another rarity is the off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned, making the coin look oddly shaped. Even more exciting is the wrong planchet error, where the quarter was mistakenly struck on a coin blank meant for another denomination, such as a nickel or a foreign coin. These anomalies are rare, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Now, condition matters just as much as rarity. A coin that has been through years of pockets and cash registers won't hold nearly as much value as one that has been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition. Collectors seek coins with sharp details, a bright luster, and zero signs of wear. When you combine a rare minting error with excellent condition, that's when you get something truly extraordinary. And here's something most people overlook: coins from the late 1980s are only now becoming recognized for their collectible value. For years, people ignored them, thinking they were too new to be worth much. But now, those coins are approaching vintage status, and collectors are racing to find the best examples before they disappear from circulation completely. So, if you have a 1988 D Washington quarter, now is the perfect time to examine it closely. Look for errors. Check its edges, inspect the lettering, and look at the overall condition. Because if you happen to own one of the rare variants in uncirculated or mint state condition, you might just be holding something incredibly special. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1988 D Washington $quarter coin, in pristine condition and featuring a highly rare minting error, has been known to fetch as much as $135,000 in the collector's market. Yes, you heard that right. $135,000 for a quarter that originally cost just 25 cents. It's truly amazing how much hidden value can be tucked away in the smallest places. So, what should you do next? Go through your change, check your coin jars, and take a close look at those quarters you've been ignoring. You never know, your next big discovery might be sitting in plain sight, waiting to change your life. Second rare coin, we're talking about the United States Washington $quarter coin from the year 1965. Now, you might be thinking, 1965? What's so special about a quarter from that year? It's not ancient. It's not gold. It looks like any other quarter, right? Well, not quite. Once you hear the full story behind this coin, and just how valuable a rare version of it can be, you might find yourself scrambling to dig through your drawers, old jars, and coin albums. Let's rewind a bit to understand why 1965 was a landmark year in U.S. coinage history. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. They had that bright white shine, they felt heavier in your hand, and you could even hear the difference when they clinked together. But by the mid-1960s, the price of silver was rising fast. The U.S. government realized that people were hoarding silver coins, and that if they didn't act quickly, there would be a national coin shortage. So in 1965, a major change was made. That year, for the first time, Washington quarters were no longer struck in silver. Instead, they were made with a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of cupronickel. This new composition gave the coins a duller finish, and the sound they made when dropped was no longer the sweet ring of silver, but a more muted clink. The 1965 Washington quarter marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter. Because of this transitional moment in history, a few very unusual things happened at the U.S. Mint, mistakes that would go on to make some 1965 quarters extremely rare and incredibly valuable. You see, even though the Mint officially switched to the clad version, there are confirmed reports that a small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets, the blank discs used to mint coins. These rare silver 1965 quarters were mixed into circulation, and most people never even noticed the difference. But for those in the know, those who understand just how rare that error is, these coins are now considered legendary. So how do you know if your 1965 quarter might be worth a fortune? First, check the weight. A regular clad 1965 quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while the rare silver version weighs around 6.25 grams. It's a small difference, but a digital scale can help you spot it. Another clue? The color of the edge. On a clad coin, you'll see a distinct copper stripe along the edge. But if your coin is silver all the way through with no stripe, you might have something incredibly special. There are also other minting errors to watch for: double strikes, off-center strikes, and wrong planchet errors, where the quarter might have been accidentally struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. These minting anomalies are rare and desirable, and when paired with the 1965 date, they can push the coin's value into shocking territory, but rarity alone isn't enough. The condition of the coin is absolutely critical. If you've got a 1965 quarter in mint state, meaning it looks brand new, with no signs of wear, strong details, and full luster, you're already ahead of the game. Combine that with a minting error or a silver planchet mistake, and you've got a collector's dream. Now, why are collectors so obsessed with this coin? Well, part of it is nostalgia. It's the first year of the modern clad quarter and the last gasp of the silver era. It marks a turning point, a moment in American history where money itself was changing. And like any great collectible, it's the rare missteps, the human errors, and the historical context that make certain examples so highly prized. And let's be honest, there's something thrilling about the idea that a coin you've handled 1,000 times might secretly be worth a small fortune. It could be sitting in your coin jar right now, just waiting to be discovered. So now comes the part you've all been waiting for. Just how much can one of these rare 1965 Washington quarters actually be worth? Hold on tight, because the most exceptional examples, those struck on silver planchets, preserved in pristine condition, with clear minting errors, have been known to fetch an unbelievable $200,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $200,000 for a single quarter. That's life-changing money, all in the palm of your hand. So what are you waiting for? Check your change, search through your old collections, and take a good look at your 1965 quarters. You never know, you might just be holding a piece of American coin history worth far more than face value. Third expensive coin, we're talking about the United States Washington $quarter coin from 1971, specifically the one minted in Denver, marked with a tiny but powerful D. Now, you might be wondering, what could possibly make a quarter from the 1970s worth anything more than 25 cents? The truth is, most of them aren't. Millions were produced, and many are still in circulation today. But every so often, something extraordinary happens at the mint, something rare, unintentional, and almost impossible to duplicate, and that's exactly what makes a handful of these 1971 D quarters some of the most sought-after coins in numismatic circles. Let's step back and look at what makes this particular year and mint mark combination so intriguing. The year 1971 wasn't especially dramatic for U.S. coinage. It came after the silver era had ended, and quarters were being struck in the now standard copper-nickel clad composition. But just because these coins weren't made of silver doesn't mean they aren't valuable. In fact, some of the most incredible coin discoveries aren't about what a coin is made from, but about how it was made. You see, in the world of coin collecting, mint errors and rare varieties are where the real excitement lives. While most 1971 D quarters were produced with precision and perfection, a few rare examples slipped through the cracks, literally and figuratively. We're talking about misstrikes, double dies, off-center minting, and wrong planchet strikes. These coins weren't meant to exist, which makes them extremely desirable and highly valuable. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was struck off-center, so you can see part of the design is missing or slightly shifted. Or finding one with doubling on the date or the words, "In God We Trust," a phenomenon known as a double die error. These aren't just printing quirks, they're minting miracles, and collectors will pay top dollar to get their hands on them. But that's not all. Some rare 1971 D quarters were accidentally struck on leftover planchets from earlier years or even on blanks meant for foreign coins. That means you could be holding a quarter that weighs differently, sounds different when dropped, or looks slightly off in color or texture. These subtle differences are exactly what expert collectors train their eyes to notice, and they can turn a basic coin into an incredibly rare piece of American history. And then there's condition, the unsung hero of coin collecting. A 1971 D quarter pulled straight from your pocket today probably shows its age, scratches, dullness, wear from decades of use. But if you happen to have a quarter from this year that's in mint state condition, untouched by circulation, with sharp detail and full luster, then you're holding something special. Combine condition with a rare error, and suddenly, that little 25-cent piece is worth more than some people's entire car, or even their home. The Washington quarter itself has a long and iconic history. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the coin's design remained largely unchanged for decades. The 1971 D version continues this legacy, with the profile of America's first president on the front, and the proud eagle clutching arrows and olive branches on the back, symbolizing both strength and peace. But it's not just the symbolism that collectors care about. It's the story, the rarity, the chase. And coins like the 1971 D quarter offer a thrilling combination of all three. Now you may be asking, how do I know if I have one of these rare and valuable quarters? Start by checking the mint mark. You'll find the letter D just behind Washington's neck, indicating it was minted in Denver. Then, take a close look, really close. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the coin for signs of doubling, unusual edges, odd colors, or anything else that looks out of the ordinary. And if you think you've got something rare, it's time to get it appraised by a professional coin grader or dealer, because if you're lucky, if you've got the right combination of rarity, error, and condition, you could be in for an incredible surprise. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, some of the rarest 1971 D Washington quarter coins, those with minting errors, pristine preservation, or struck on the wrong planchets, have shocked collectors and auction houses alike by reaching values of up to $140,000. Yes, you heard that right. $140,000 for a single quarter that could easily be hiding in your old coin jar, purse, or even stuck between your couch cushions. So don't overlook those old quarters. The next time you come across a 1971 take a moment. Examine it closely. Because what looks like ordinary pocket change could be an extraordinary hidden treasure. Especially, we're diving deep into the story behind a coin that many people overlook every single day, the United States Washington $quarter coin from 1979. At first glance, it might seem like just another quarter. But dig a little deeper, and you'll uncover a fascinating tale of rarity, mistakes, and hidden value. Let's start by talking about the era this coin came from. The year was 1979, a time of transformation in the United States. Inflation was climbing, the country was experiencing economic shifts, and technology was just starting to explode. But amid all that change, one thing remained constant: the everyday use of coins in American pockets, purses, and drawers. Millions of Washington quarters were produced that year, each stamped with the trusted image of America's first president. Now, the Washington quarter itself is steeped in tradition. It was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and its design has become one of the most recognizable in the world. The obverse features the bold and confident profile of President Washington, while the reverse displays a powerful eagle, wings spread wide, perched above arrows and olive branches. This iconic imagery stood for nearly 70 years as a symbol of American strength and dignity. So what makes the 1979 version of this coin stand out? After all, it's not made of silver, and it was produced in large numbers. That's where the story gets interesting. While most of these coins hold little more than face value, a small number of 1,979 quarters, especially those struck at the Philadelphia Mint, have become the focus of intense interest among collectors due to minting anomalies and errors. These errors are what transform an ordinary coin into a high-value collectible. Some of the most sought-after versions of the 1979 quarter feature what's called a double die, an error that occurs when the coin's design is accidentally stamped more than once but slightly out of alignment. This results in noticeable doubling on the letters or numbers, especially in places like the word liberty or the phrase, "In God We Trust." If you spot that doubling, your coin could be worth far more than a quarter. Other rare finds include off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned during minting, leaving part of the coin blank. There are also clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a cutting error. And in extremely rare instances, some 1979 quarters have been discovered struck on the wrong metal planchets altogether, meaning they were stamped on blanks meant for other coins, sometimes even coins from foreign countries. But what really elevates a coin's value is condition. A 1979 quarter that has been heavily used in circulation probably won't command a high price, even with a minor error. But if your coin is in mint state condition, meaning it has no signs of wear and retains its original luster, it becomes instantly more desirable. Coins that are carefully preserved, kept in protective holders, or pulled from mint rolls can be worth many times their face value. Collectors and professional numismatists are always on the lookout for those near-perfect coins with rare errors. And when demand rises, so does the value. Imagine walking into an auction house or sending your coin to a certified grading service, and discovering that your humble little quarter is actually a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Let's not forget, the Philadelphia Mint coins from 1979 didn't carry a mint mark. That means if your quarter doesn't have a D or an S on it, it was struck in Philadelphia, and certain Philadelphia minted coins are known to include some of the rarest error types from that year. So, how do you know if your 1979 quarter could be one of these rare gems? Start by examining it closely. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and look for doubling, strange edges, missing details, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. Compare the coin's weight and sound to a normal quarter. Sometimes these subtle differences can indicate an error in the metal composition, and if you think you've found something special, don't keep it a secret. Get it graded by a professional coin grading service. This process can confirm the coin's authenticity, condition, and rarity, and give it the certification it needs to shine in the collector's market. Now, here comes the part that might just change how you look at every coin in your pocket from now on: among the rarest examples of the 1979 Washington quarter, those with remarkable errors, struck on unique planchets, or preserved in near-perfect condition. One coin has been valued at an astonishing $110,000. Yes, you heard that right. $110,000 for a single quarter that you might easily mistake for everyday pocket change. Next coin, we're turning our spotlight on a coin that many might overlook, but that holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, the United States Washington $quarter coin from 1982, minted in Denver, or as collectors often call it, the 1982 D quarter. At first glance, this coin may look like any other quarter you've handled before, but trust me, there's a lot more beneath the surface. The year 1982 marked a transitional period in American coinage history. This was the year when the U.S. Mint changed the composition of many coins, including quarters, due to the rising cost of metals. These changes, combined with a few interesting minting quirks, make the 1982 D Washington quarter a fascinating study, and, in some cases, a potentially valuable treasure. Let's rewind a bit to understand the context of the 1982 D quarter. The early 1980s were a turbulent economic time. Inflation and metal prices were on the rise, and the mint needed to adapt to keep the cost of producing coins manageable. So, in 1982, the quarter went through a significant change. The copper-nickel-clad quarter began to phase out pure copper cents, but with quarters, subtle variations started appearing in the alloys and production process. The Denver Mint produced millions of quarters in 1982, but among these vast numbers, there are some remarkable variants that can significantly increase the coin's value. One of the biggest factors collectors look for in this coin is the presence of minting errors, especially the famous double die obverse or double die reverse errors. In a double die error, the coin's design is accidentally stamped twice but slightly offset, creating a doubled image effect that's especially visible on the letters and numbers. On the 1982 D quarter, you might notice doubling on the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or the date itself. This error makes the coin instantly stand out and can make it very valuable to collectors who specialize in error coins. Another key point about the 1982 D quarter is its condition. Since so many were produced and circulated widely, finding one that's in uncirculated or mint condition is quite rare. Over time, these coins usually show signs of wear from being handled, dropped, and passed around in pockets and cash registers. But if you have a 1982 D quarter that still shines with its original luster and sharp details, you're already ahead of the game. There's also the lesser-known but highly prized clipped planchet error on some 1982 D quarters, where the coin's edge is missing a small portion due to a miscut metal blank. This error can make a coin significantly rarer and therefore more valuable. Collectors are particularly interested in these error coins combined with high-grade conditions. If you've been holding onto a 1982 D quarter without paying much attention, it's definitely worth giving it a closer look. A simple magnifying glass can reveal the doubling or clipped edges that turn an everyday quarter into a prized collectible. So, how much could this coin be worth? While most 1982 D quarters are worth their face value or just a little more, a pristine, error-free uncirculated coin or one exhibiting the rare double die or clipped planchet errors can fetch a handsome sum in the collector's market. After careful grading and authentication by professional services, some of the most extraordinary 1982 D Washington quarters have reached an impressive value, with certain rare examples selling for as much as $90,000. That's right, $90,000 for a single quarter that could be hiding right in your coin jar. It's an incredible reminder that sometimes, treasures are hiding in the most unexpected places. So the next time you find yourself sorting through your coins, don't overlook the 1982 D Washington quarter. Examine it closely, look for any unusual markings or doubled designs, and you just might have a piece worth far more than you ever imagined. Now, we're focusing on a classic piece of American coinage, the United States Washington $quarter coin from 1990, minted in Philadelphia, often simply known as the 1990 P quarter. This coin might seem like an ordinary quarter at first glance, but if you look a little closer, you'll discover some intriguing details that can make this coin a prized possession for collectors. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, originally issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, featuring Washington's profile on the obverse, has remained largely unchanged, becoming one of the most recognizable coins in the world. By 1990, the quarter was firmly established in everyday American life, seen in pockets, vending machines, and cash registers nationwide. But while millions of these quarters were minted, some 1990p coins have qualities that set them apart. What makes the 1990p quarter special isn't just its historical continuity, but also the fact that it sits right before a major change in quarter design came in 1999 with the state quarters program. Collectors started paying closer attention to quarters from the 1980s and early 1990s because these coins represent the last years of the classic Washington quarter design before the modern commemorative series took over. One of the key aspects that coin enthusiasts look for in the 1990p quarter is condition. Because so many of these quarters were produced, over 600 million, finding one in heavily circulated condition is easy, but finding one in mint or uncirculated condition is much harder. An uncirculated coin means it has never been used in everyday transactions and retains all its original shine and detail. These coins often show sharp features on Washington's hair, clear letters, and a bright, flawless surface that collectors highly prize, but condition isn't the only factor that can boost this quarter's value. Like many coins, the 1990p quarter has some interesting minting errors and variations that can make certain pieces significantly more valuable. One of the most sought-after errors in quarters from this era is the double die error, where the coin's design appears doubled, especially on the inscriptions and date. This happens because the coin is struck twice by the die with a slight offset. If you examine a 1990p quarter closely with a magnifying glass, you might catch these subtle doubled letters, which instantly elevate the coin's rarity and desirability. There are also instances of die cracks, missing details, or off-center strikes found in some 1990p quarters, making these coins unique collectibles. These minting anomalies are like nature's fingerprints on coins. They make each piece special and irreplaceable. The metal composition of the 1990p quarter is also something to note. By this time, quarters were made with a copper-nickel clad composition, which means the coin isn't made from precious metals but from a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. This composition keeps the coins durable for everyday use but means that their base metal value is close to face value. However, the collector value can far exceed the metal content when the coin is rare, error-filled, or in exceptional condition. If you're wondering about the value of a 1990p Washington quarter, most common circulated examples remain worth just their face value or slightly more to collectors. However, if you happen to have a 1990p quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one showing a recognized mint error such as doubling or die cracks, that coin can attract significant attention from collectors and investors alike. To give you a sense of the market today, some of the finest, rare error specimens of the 1990p Washington quarter have been known to sell for astonishing sums. After being professionally graded and authenticated, exceptional examples have reached values as high as $50,000, yes, that's right, $50,000 for a quarter minted in 1990, a coin that likely passed through countless hands, lost in change, but now worth a small fortune. So, next time you're sorting through your coins, don't just glance over the 1990p Washington quarter. Give it a careful look, examine it under good light or with a magnifier, and see if it might hold a rare minting twist or simply shine with the glow of a coin never circulated. It could be hiding a surprising value that might just change your day. Last unique coin, we're diving into the fascinating story behind a coin that many might overlook but holds significant value for collectors, the United States Washington $quarter coin from 1995, minted in Philadelphia. At first glance, it may look like your everyday quarter, but this small piece of metal carries a rich history and the potential for a surprising fortune. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since it was first introduced in 1932 to honor the nation's first president, George Washington. Over the decades, millions of these quarters have been minted, making them one of the most familiar coins in circulation. The 1995p quarter, however, stands out to collectors for reasons that go beyond its face value. In 1995, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these quarters primarily for circulation, so finding one in everyday change is common. But what collectors are truly after is a specimen that has been preserved in mint condition, a coin that looks just as fresh as the day it was struck at the mint. These uncirculated examples, often graded and certified by professional numismatic organizations, are becoming increasingly rare as time passes. What makes the 1995 P quarter so interesting is its potential to be a key piece in a collector's portfolio. While it does not carry the allure of silver content or rare metal, its value comes from condition, scarcity in top grades, and the growing passion of collectors who aim to complete the Washington Quarter series. Coins that have been handled heavily or show signs of wear tend to hold their face value or only slightly more, but those with exceptional surfaces and sharp details can command impressive prices. Additionally, some 1995 P quarters exhibit subtle minting errors or variations that further enhance their desirability. These errors might include small die cracks, doubling, or other minor anomalies that make a coin unique and highly collectible. Collectors actively seek these quirks because they tell a story and differentiate one coin from thousands of others. The coin's copper-nickel clad composition means it doesn't hold significant intrinsic metal value, unlike silver or gold coins. Instead, its worth is driven by rarity and condition. The market for collectible quarters has remained strong over the years, with demand steadily increasing as coin enthusiasts hunt for pristine examples to add to their collections. Because of this, coins like the 1995 P Washington Quarter in superb condition have grown in value dramatically. With many common coins lost to circulation and wear, the surviving mint state quarters become more precious with time. Graded specimens with high marks for quality can attract bids far above what many would expect from a simple quarter. Now, here comes the moment that makes you want to check your coin jars and collections carefully. That 1995 P Washington Quarter, if it's in flawless condition and authenticated by a trusted grading service, could be worth an astonishing $35,000 in words. Yes, what seems like just another quarter could actually represent a remarkable investment and a piece of numismatic history that pays off handsomely.